Oh, hello. Hi. Hi, and welcome to our kickoff call for the free Untamed Visionary Mastermind. It's so good to see you. Hi, Marie. Hi, Sumaya. Good to see you. All right, we're going to get started. Hi. I'm super excited to be here with you. Okay, we'll see where. I think that was Marie. All right, today I have a lot for you all. I always have a lot. I have a lot of things to say. I'm a talker, so I have a lot of things to share. And I also want to have space for you all. And okay, great. Okay, hi. I'm okay. I saw your photo and I was like, that's not Marie. That's Katie. I was so confused for a second. Yeah, okay, great. I was like, well, am I? I was like, am I wrong here? Okay, great. Yay. Okay. I'm so happy to see you all. Oh my gosh, I have so much I want to share with you all today. We're going to have some conversations, we're going to have some practice. I also want to hear from you all. But yeah, I felt called to hold this space. It was a little last minute. I felt the urge, and I've had a lot of capacity open up in my life in the last couple of months, and even in the last month. A lot of things have shifted around in my life, and it just really goes, for me, it's just like such a example of what I've known for like quite a long time. And that is that like our ability to scale is and grow a business and to be in our service and be in like fulfillment and joy and love is such a reflection of our ability, of our capacity, of our capacity and of and the capacity is not just something that happens. Like sometimes it is. Sometimes there are things outside of us that happen. Like if someone has, experiences like a natural disaster and isn't able to run their business the same way that they have been for a while, um, that's like something outside of themselves. But it's also our has a lot to do with our choices. And I've been making some really big choices in the last really the last 2 years has been such a clearing for some really deep, chunky generational patterns that were they really flared up in the last couple years and showed me where I was like putting energy into things that did not need my time and energy, that really needed my protection. And I've made some big choices in the last couple weeks to clear some of those things. And my capacity has just opened up so much. Surprise. Um, and in doing that too, like my revenue and my recurring revenue, so meaning my revenue, not just like, oh, one blip this month, but like looking forward. So I really focus in my business on building a lot of sustainability, a lot of um, ease and support and lushness and um, a lot of feeling really nurtured and being nurtured. And part of that is me having a standard where I'm like really taken care of long term and my business is taken care of long term. So I don't have to be in these loops of how am I going to like make ends meet this month, which I had to work my way up to that, right? It took me time to get to that point. And I even got to the point I'm reworking towards this. I haven't built this yet after I took a big break, but I'm working towards um yeah, just like in 2023, I started the year, and at the beginning of the year, I remember I checked it on like I said this in my podcast recently. I checked on January 6th what my recurring revenue was for the year, and I was like, you know what? I would be set this year. Like I already have enough money coming in that I'd be good for the year. And it turns out that I really needed that because come March, my ex had like a very intense psychotic break and I had to take a bunch of time off and all of that kind of stuff. If you've been around, you've heard the story. If you haven't, you can go listen to my podcast episodes and all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, with my capacity opening, my revenue, my recurring revenue doubled in the last 6 weeks. And so, yeah, I'm feeling really excited to pour into my business and to pour into you all. And today we're going to have some conversations, some practice around like I've really been through, for those of you who are interested in human design, I'm a generator 1-3. So 1-3 is very much like, and I really identify with this a lot, like throughout my life. It's just like I've experienced a lot. And I can say that very objectively. That's something that people who, are twice my age will reflect to me, that I've just had really a lot of life experience, both like very, very good and very, very hard. And so the same is true within my business. And I feel like I just know a lot around from experience and education as well, but from like in my opinion, in like embodied education is and like practice is so much more powerful than just like learning something and regurgitating it. And I know a lot at this point about um, how to scale a business and how to take care of a business that is going to pour into you and nurture you and that you really love. And it doesn't mean it's always easy, but having that clarity around how it all works does make it a lot easier. So today, what I want to impart to you all is supporting you more with deepening that awareness of your clarity of how to run and scale and operate, and whether you're just getting started or you're refining or perhaps coming back from, I know there's some people in this space who have like, you know, pivoted in some ways or completely redoing the way you're running your business. And what I want to help you do is build that clarity of how to run a truly life-giving business where, yeah, where like money is there in overflow, where you're doing what you love, where your body is super nurtured by your business, um, where you feel this confidence and clarity in how things work, where you know how, okay, I have shadows come up where I feel scared or feel like I'm not sure if this is working or if I'm doing it all right, and you know how to work with them. So, what I would love to do to get started is I would honestly love to hear from you. I would love to hear from you and hear a little bit of where you're at, what's going on with you. So, all of you who are here, I know, but I would love to hear some of you all I haven't heard from in a while. So, I would love to hear some updates of where you're at and what's happening in your business right now. So, anything that's happened, and then the intentions you have, the vision that you have so far. Maybe some parts are really clear, maybe some parts aren't. And that's what I want to hear, because I want to give you like specific, we're not going to get into coaching right now, but I want to hear where you're at. And then I'm going to be doing some more teaching and some more practice and things like that. So, are you all in a space where you can unmute yourself and talk? If you're not, you can also put it in the chat box. Okay, Sumaya, hi. I see your hand is raised. You can unmute yourself.
Hi.
Hi. Can I hear you? Are you talking? I'm not sure if you're talking. I can't hear you.
Now it should be better. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yep. No, I can't. Oh.
Now I can hear you. Okay, great. So I was thanking you for opening this space, and I'm really super grateful. Actually, it's super timely. I've been wanting and desiring to have an online business for years. and I was running a consultancy in parallel that was making money, and the online piece is never. I never really launched it. It was like almost always from 0 to 1. And now I'm in a season where I feel ready, and I feel like the urgency and the survival I was in is completely released. I feel very spacious in the time. I feel like I have time to build it at my own pace and everything. But I don't know what I want to sell. I don't know what kind of products I want to do. I feel like I have a huge toolbox. I feel like I can support people on many level. I'm continuing to do the consultancy in parallel, and I love everything I do, but I would love to have an identity or something, like a starting point. Um, Something where I know I can build momentum and just see some, yeah, consistency maybe and structure to start building, basically, and enter into build stage, if that makes sense. um yeah, so
Yeah.
this is me.
Okay, amazing. Yeah, and we'll have some more specific conversations for you later. I definitely want to do some hot seat coaching today. And then you also will have space for that within the Telegram as well. But for now,
Hmm.
I'll just say, like, yeah, I know. I know that about you. You are so skilled and wise, and yeah, you're just like an incredible person and
Mm.
a lot to give.
Oh, I love you so
I'm
much.
gonna reflect that. Yeah,
Mm.
I don't know, I'm having like a moment.
Oh,
Just like, we were in integrate and up level, like what, in 2020, 2020?
2021, 2021, 2022. Yeah.
Okay, at the end of that year.
Hmm.
Yeah. And you're an incredible person. So I'm really excited for you,
Mm.
and I'm excited to support you with that.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Okay, who would like to go next?
Hi, I'll go. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. What was the question again? Sorry.
The question is a general. I know where you're at.
I know, that's why I was like, what should I say?
You could just like kind of introduce yourself and be like, "This is what's going on with me, and this is what I'm building towards." And maybe I'll hear something that I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I'm Nadine, and I think I've always had a really hard time trying to define what I do. I feel like that's what I've just been offering what I do. I've kind of just been like making the transition to like online in the last, well, it feels like 3 years. Like I feel like I've been just like watching the online coaching space because I always just did it. People just came to me, right? And so, yeah, that's been really tricky for me, is like how to talk about what I do and define what I do, and finding my voice. And also, I think this is like the realization I had this morning where I was like, I think I've actually been afraid of how much magic I work with. Like I've always been more like, oh, I want to be, I've never quite identified with the super logical or the like super magical. I always felt like I was like a hybrid somewhere. Um, so that's where I feel like I'm at. Like I'm really finding my voice and how to talk about what I do. And like, yeah, so some days are really clear and other days are really not. Um, yeah, so that's, again, I have like a program that again, I just kind of like threw spaghetti at the wall, and it's been working really well. And I think that that's where I was like, okay, I do need to be able to talk about what I do, because I am really seeing the impact, and I love it. And I guess there's been a lot of grief for me, and the fact that like just the amount of not being able to talk about it in a way that I felt confident. So whatever, that was a word jumbly salad, but that's
Well, you know me. I love jumbly.
I know, that's why I love
I
you.
do. I'm like, just say it. Just, I don't care. I'm not gonna be like, can you be more clear? Can you just
No,
like
I
fill
really
that
can't.
for me? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm taking some notes because I'm like, I want to talk about all these things.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Nadine.
Thank you.
Okay, Katie, are you somewhere where you can share? Hi, here she comes. I should have worn my earrings.
Aw,
If I had known you would be here.
it makes me so happy seeing you wearing them.
I get so many compliments on them.
Really? Oh,
Yes.
be
I
happy.
need to tag you more. Like every time, I always think about it after. I'm like, oh, I should have like tagged her in that.
I mean, the fact that you made like a dedicated post on it made me just overjoyed, and it makes me happy that you like them.
Well, it was so sweet. I literally like when people compliment them, I'm like, what am I clients sent them to me? Isn't that like the nicest thing you've ever heard? I'm like, it's fine. I'm okay. It's
It's
really
fine.
nice.
We're just gonna cry every time about
I
time we
love
talk
them.
about it.
Like, for real.
Yay. So I'm glad you like word jumbly salads because that's probably what's gonna come out of me too. So I think the last time the last time I was on one of your live calls, I was talking about a program that I was like really passionate about bringing, and the business coach that I was working with at the time, like one-on-one, advised me to not put it out there because I had already had like a one-off offer and no one was buying it. And I was like, I feel like I want to do this other thing. And she was like, I would advise against that because like we're already working on this thing. And I was like, I don't feel passionate about it. And we talked about it on one of your live calls, and I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. And I did it, and I'm like in it right now, and we're almost complete. Next week is our last week. So that feels really, really, really good and nourishing. And I feel like I'm in this space of like being stretched really thin with like these I'm working 3 jobs, 3 like remote part-time jobs just to like make ends meet, honestly. Not even I'm not necessarily like in need of all of that stuff, but it's like how I've operated for so long that I feel like I need to keep myself afloat. That's like the belief that's running in the background. And with that belief running in the background, I feel like I'm edging on burnout all the time, and I don't feel like I have the capacity to hold the space that I want to. So even though I'm in the space that I'm like really proud of holding, I don't feel like I can like really drop into it. And now that it's like it's completing its cycle, I have 2 other launches that I'm planning on doing this year. But I'm a little concerned about my ability, my capacity to hold the space and do the launches like I want to, and have like the integrity behind it. So yeah, and in the past like couple years, I've been trying new things with marketing and sales, and it just felt like I was spinning my wheels and no one was really biting. So I'm kind of just like in this liminal space where I'm like, okay, now I know something kind of worked, but I want it to grow and I want to do deeper work, and I don't want to get into that space of spinning my wheels and not having something work again. So there's a little bit of fear there.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. There's a little part of me that's a little mischievous that, like, I think I've just been in so many containers where I'm like told what to do. And I'm like, that's what you want to do. That's not what I want to do. And I'm like, stop telling. I don't get in those spaces anymore. And this has nothing to do with your other coach. Like, but there's a little part of me that's like, I love that worked. and your intuition knew. Like, I love that. And it makes sense too. Like if you were feeling really called to it and lit up by it, and I saw parts of that launch that you were doing and like the responses you were getting, it just felt like really true for you. And I love that you're like getting those tastes of like, oh, okay, I like this can work and I can like, and I know there's that other side that's like, oh, but what if it doesn't? What if that was just like a one-time thing? What if that was a blip? How will I sustain it? How will I keep going? How will I put energy into these other things when I have all of this other stuff going on and all of the fears? So just want to say, been there, know that you're not alone, and we can definitely talk about those things today.
Thank you. Yeah, that like not knowing if I could can sustain it is like the big looming fear over everything. Yeah.
Yep. So thank you for sharing. I'm glad you're here.
Me too.
So let me just go off on some talking based on like everything I've heard. It's good to see your face. I'm going to speak to you all directly. I'm going to speak to like people who I know who are in this space, and just other things I think are supportive. I just want to say like my style of faith holding and coaching and teaching, like okay, my phone did not put on, leave me alone. There we go. Okay. My style of coaching is very much a blend of, you know how like we hear the whole like self-led client narrative of like, come have a very direct question. I just think that's not like grounded in reality, because I feel like my whole role is to help you see the areas that you're not seeing. So yes, you might come forward and be like, I have these specific questions. I have these, these specific things I want to talk about. But like, this is all to say that you all coming and being like, I feel like I'm just like saying stuff like that. Those to me is when I work with clients, when they just are like, I don't really know what to say, but here's like some like wow of like what's happening. They have the most powerful moments of like ahas, because I can be like, oh, well, let's like explore this. Let's explore this, these areas that you're not seeing, because it's not this direct question where they're like, I am clearly seeing this shadow or this pattern, or like wanting to do this particular thing in my business. When you're developing and expanding, you can't always see those. So that's just why I love to encourage like, and I just want to say that too, like with the Q&A that we have in the Telegram, it doesn't have to be like, here's a specific question. You can totally just like be like, I'm experiencing this and it feels a little weird, or it feels a little wonky, or I'm trying to figure out this. And it doesn't have to be this like super crystal clear thing, because that's like that's the point of having someone support you, is helping you get more clear, helping you feel supported in those areas. Okay. All right. So I'm feeling called to talk first and then have a practice, and then we'll circle back around and see what else we want to cover. Okay. So the thing I first want to say is that in business, I've been doing this now since 2018 full time, and I've had plenty of ebbs and flows, plenty of like, yeah, I've been able to sustain myself that whole time from when I started, which I started like cold turkey, to now. But there have been plenty of moments that really brought up a lot for me, or really challenged me in certain ways. And when you're doing business, and I just want to normalize this so that we can see it as a part of the process and how to work with it. When you're doing business, there's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be moments where you have this like amazing launch that like you haven't experienced before, and like the people come in, and moments where you have a lot of clarity. And then there's going to be moments where you don't have a lot of clarity, or where you put energy into a project and it doesn't really go the way you thought it would, or doesn't meet your expectations, or you realize, oh, I was like messing up in some ways, or self-abandoning in some ways. And the quicker we can see that, like, oh, this is all of service. And I know you all know this. I know you all are so good at this, but it's just a reminder. The quicker we can see, like, okay, this is actually good news. This is actually good news, because I'm like devoted to this path, really devoted. I'm going to talk about what that means in a minute, what it means for me, right? And I'd love to hear what it means for you. That all of this is of service to our growth as individuals, our spiritual development, the love that we can access and give to our business and then to the rest of our lives too, because our business, our relationship with business is just like a mirror, like how intimate and true and honest we can be in our business and like nourished, supported, et cetera, in our business is going to reflect the rest of our life as well. But like all of those initiations, all of those challenges, all of those moments of lack of clarity, the more we can like detach from them and not make them mean something personal, which is hard to do. It's hard to do. Something about our worth, something about our ability to create, our ability to keep going, our ability to sustain it, our ability to start it, et cetera, but more take this as, oh, this is actually serving me to get to that, to create that. No? Okay. It's so cute. You're like, yeah, the faster we can see that, and I can give you a really big example from my life. Like I said at the beginning that of this call, that there's some like really deep patterns that I'm working out, and it's really like self-abandoning to be with men. Self-abandoning to be with men who like frankly don't deserve me. You know, and it's not that they don't deserve me. It's just like we're just in different places. They don't have the capacity to love me the way that I deserve and the way that I give. And there was a really big instance of that, right? A couple years ago when I fell in love with someone who was like, who I later saw like, and honestly, I was young. I didn't know he was love bombing me pretty hard, right? And I fell in love with him. And it later turned out that he had like very serious mental illnesses, was manipulating, was like lying about a lot of things, you all. Not just white lies, but like lies around his whole identity. And it really could have, there were some big parts of me that were like, that never wanted to show my face again. Honestly, that was like, okay, you can't trust yourself. And how are you going to lead people when you let yourself get into this kind of situation where someone is like very, very bluntly like taking advantage of you and using you and mistreating you? And yeah, like there's still parts of that come up that I like, still little tendrils of that I have to work through. But the truth is that like, this is so deeply generational. This is so deeply generational. And I'm thankful that like, I'm really looking at it and doing the work to like not opt in to repeating those patterns that every woman in my family, just about that I can think of, experienced. And leadership is not just us being perfect all the time and having it all together all the time. It's even more important, and especially everyone here is someone who is holding space for people. Everyone here is someone who is teaching, right? It's even more important in those times that feel like they could break you, that feel like they come up against everything that you thought you were and everything that, you know, that completely reshape you. And so again, it's just about really like letting yourself be with those things, be with the emotions, be with like the lessons, and it will resolve. It will resolve. Right. And so that was like a big example. And I hope that no one ever has to go through something that's that intense. Right. But these things happen and they come up in little blips in your business of like the shadows of like, again, can I sustain this? What is my actual next step? How can I tell people what I do when I like do all of these things, and how do I actually explain it to people? And I found that the more I'm able to be with those challenging pieces, the more it opens up naturally this ability to have a lot of peace, and a lot of centeredness in the uncertainty. That you can have peace and clarity even when there's not things that are resolved. There's not things that you're sure about. Because the truth is, in your business, and again, this is from how many years? 7 years, 8 years, going on 8 years, going on how many years? I don't know. Like a while, right? Long enough. It's never gonna resolve. It's never gonna be like, oh, and this is true for business, this is true for money, this is true for our development. We're never gonna get to this point. And this is so free, honestly. This is so free. Being like, I'm never gonna get to this point where every little thing is completely figured out and I can just coast. And when you actually learn to look at that, not just as something that's like, oh, that sucks, or like, oh, I want like, but I don't want it to be so hard. You get to see that and experience that as something that can be like really pleasurable and really exciting and really activating. Because you can use that as a practice to be like, oh, I'm actually the person like who can sort through anything. I'm the person who can show up to entrepreneurship, to leading a business, to holding space for people when I don't know if I'm going to have the capacity, when I don't know all the next steps, when I don't even know how to talk about it. And trust yourself enough and be open enough to take the steps anyway and to receive anyway. To just take the next step, the next step, the next step, and let it compound and grow. I'm going to take a pause because do you all see my dog's feet moving? Well, he just stopped. Of course, he just stopped. Do it again. He probably heard me. Anyway, he was over there doing like this, you all. And I needed someone to share that moment with me. Okay, so I feel like knowing that being like, okay, it actually clears up so much of the conflict and the resistance that we feel, where we're like, you know what? I'm going to really just take it off my plate and just relieve myself of needing to be perfect, of needing to have it figured out, of needing to know all the next steps, of needing to know where the next client is going to come from, of needing to know where all the money is going to come from. And through practice, continuing to open up space, right? Like Katie, you did, to trust your intuition and be like, this other thing isn't really working that much. And even though I've already put all this time and energy into it, I really feel called to do this and I'm going to go this way. To open up space to like really be able to deeply trust yourself, even if it hasn't worked up till now, even if there are challenges that are making you question yourself, even if all of the steps are not there yet. To just keep taking the next step, the next step, the next step, the next step. Okay. You can let me know if this is true for you all. I feel like this is true for a lot of the clients that I worked with. These businesses are not, it's not just like, oh, there's a lot of like paradox here. It's not just like, oh, I'm just going to go out and make a lot of money and start a business. Hee hee. It's like this business like chose you in a way. I mean, there was a mutual choosing, but like, this is truly, you are someone who's committed and devoted to loving yourself, loving others. You've already grown so much in your life. You've had so many moments that are like unbelievably beautiful and moments that are challenging. And it's really shown you, like, distilled down what's really important in life, right? And you're not here to just like chase whatever quick fixes. You're not here to chase like dopamine hits. Of course, we all like get sucked into a doom scroll and stuff, you know, but like, well, maybe not all of us, but I don't know, you know, like these things happen, but like you are someone who's devoted to like love and truth and walking with like grace and integrity and kindness, and you know that that's where like fulfillment and happiness comes from. And so this business for you isn't just like, again, it's not, there's a paradox here and I'll talk about it. It's not just about like, oh, I'm just going to like start something that I know isn't really of service and is perhaps even harmful in some ways and make a bunch of money. You really have to feel this sense of like, I'm helping people, I'm helping the world, and helping myself. And so it's really part of like the spiritual path that you're on. And in my experience, welcoming it as that is such a great way to integrate our worldly life and our spiritual life. I found a lot of entrepreneurs I work with have both of these sides going on. And it sometimes feels like, I had this conversation in Get Rich and people were like, oh my God, like I've been feeling so conflicted around this. And this is something I used to feel really conflicted around. And then my teachers helped me resolve it. But a lot of people can feel this conflict between the spiritual life and the business. Does anybody feel that? Anybody feeling that? Okay. But they really are meant to go hand in hand. Okay. Because again, there's this paradox here that you're here to do something that's fulfilling and it's like not about the money, but at the same time, money is also a tool for nourishment. It is a life force, the same way breath is. The same way breath is. It is something that is circulating, that can be, you know, it's like food. It can be used to harm and used as poison, and it can be also used as something that's supportive, right? So it's just really about like that devotion is continuing to be like, what am I learning? How am I growing? How can I enjoy this more? How can I be nourished more? How can I expand my capacity to give and receive more? That doesn't mean overgiving. That doesn't mean burning yourself out. It's quite the opposite, because if you're burning out while you're giving, it's not really giving. It's expectation. It's, again, self-abandonment. It's being like, I'm going to do this in order to get this. So a couple of other things I want to talk about, things from what I've heard from you all. Well, before I talk about some of those other things, in order to be of service in your business and open your capacity to give and receive more, you also have to give to yourself more. And see that raising your standards in how much money you make, your standards in how you make money, your standards in how you engage with your clients, the kind of clients you want to work with, in your offers, in your relationship with money, in your relationship with other people, that the more nurtured you are, the more you can be in your joy and your pleasure and taken care of and nourished in your body, the better and better you can show up for your business. And it's, in order to do that sustainably, it is about doing it like slowly over time. And it's both inner work and outer work, because internally, our nervous system right? Our body's capacity and our awareness has to be open to it. My mom came to visit last week, and I just moved, and she was like helping me get really oriented in my new space. And I noticed like throughout the week, I had to be in this practice of letting her, because my mom was an alcoholic until I was 16 years old. She got sober when I was 16. And she was not there for me when I was growing up because she was in addiction, right? And she's been on like this amazing recovery healing journey for, 33, no, wait, how old am I? 17 years. I was saying how old I was, not how long she's been in recovery. And she has this like brilliant capacity to pour into people that she used to not have. But there was a part of me that was like confused by it and felt like unsafe to receive it, or was just like, what is this? What is happening? And I really had to soften and open, right? And keep opening my body, keep like noticing the areas where I was like trying to protect myself or trying to like push it away or having a really hard time, letting it in. And it was incredibly healing, right? But I had to keep softening my body to be able to let that in. And we have to notice the times where maybe the thing isn't here yet, but it's coming. Like you're about to do a launch. You're talking about some of your offers or products or spots that you have available for something or another. And maybe you've been used to not receiving. But to keep practicing with your body, being like, okay, no, I'm actually opening to receive now. And so like my mom is able to give that to me now, but an example of this is like, if she wasn't, there's been other people in my life who I've recognized don't have that capacity to be reciprocal with me and are, like devaluing me or using me in some ways. And I can't just like soften to receive what they can't give. And so I have to like be like, actually, no. This isn't for me. Like, I love you and I release you. This isn't for me. And the same can be true in our business. We have to make that space by looking at what are the things that are nurturing. And it's going to shift over time. We have to keep like refining it. But in this moment in time, what are the ways of operating? What are the offers that you have? What kind of clients? What are the ways of engaging with social media, of engaging with money, the systems and structures? If you're someone who has a team or a partner, the relationships there, the things that you're, outsourcing or delegating, what are those things that feel really nurturing? And is there anything that you're like, actually, no, this is draining. And it can feel so hard when we are used to being in these perpetual cycles of being drained, of things. This is really like revolutionary work. You know what I mean? Like this is really, truly revolutionary work because it's creating new paradigms of operating in your life, in your business, in your lineage, in the collective, of being like, I'm actually going to be a solid no to things that aren't of service to me, to my business, to my clients. Because really, like an example of this is, I can give some examples from my life, right? Like I had a team member who is amazing. And so it wasn't anything about like her doing something to hurt me or like, there's no like victim here, right? But it just wasn't working, right? Like there were some ways that she was showing up and operating, and it was because that was like inherent in her, that those were like her gifts. And I I didn't recognize that. And so I ended up having to be like, okay, I'm going to have to like let you go for these reasons, because this is actually draining the business and draining me to be like, and I said it, I don't remember how I said it, but like, this is like, it's draining me, it's draining the business to be, one, paying you for things that we don't really need, and for you trying to show up in ways that isn't really supportive in what, and I've gotten really good at hiring now with people who are inherently good and want to do the things that I like am not good at and don't want to do and drink, right? And it wasn't of service to her either to be in a role where she wasn't really being truly valued. And it wasn't reciprocal. And it was really hard to let her go. But after I did, she went out and she found a role that was like, she messaged me like a week or two later, like it was very quickly. Like she found this role that like was so supportive of who she was and what she was doing. And then she ended up doing all these other things later that were really, again, like really harnessing her gifts. And so it's not just like of service to us, it's of service to the people we're engaging with, the clients, et cetera, with money, to be like, actually, this isn't going to be how we engage. And again, those standards can be hard to set when you don't have the evidence yet. So if you're setting a standard of like, here's how money's going to work for me, here's how I'm going to show up to my launches, it might be making space before things are filled in. And that's really scary. It does take this level of, there's risk involved. There's a need for like trusting yourself. There's a need for showing up when you don't know how everything's going to turn out. But again, that can be really scary. It can also be exciting. This is something I do with singing a lot, performing. I could feel really nervous and scared, but I can also be like, you know what? I'm also really excited, and I see the ways that I'm prepared, and I'm going to lean into that. And that's how you can treat your business. You can be like, you know what? I'm prepared. I'm the person who can do this. I rehearsed. I'm good at this. I like being seen in this way. I like experiencing myself in this way. I know it supports the people who are on the other side, and I'm going to be excited to see how this all goes. And you just, again and again and again, anchor into that. Again and again and again and again. Okay. Let me talk about, what does that word say? Oh. I'm going to talk about talking about what you do and like owning what you do. So this is really good for like the whole Untamed Visionary conversation, because, again, like you all are people, and I attract in a lot of these people who, whether they be space holders, healers in the coaching industry, I've worked with people who are founding nonprofits, starting tech companies, like I'm thinking of one of my longtime clients who founded a like mostly women engineering firm, which, being from like the engineering world, that's like very new and visionary. People in like creative careers and all of that kind of stuff. It's really like you're doing something that is new. That's new in a way, right? Or that you're like bringing something to the world. You're like fulfilling something that has been on your heart, that's been a calling again and again and again, right? Like it's funny to me, like feeling such this deep calling and this long-term vision when I've been already doing this for so long, and still feeling that sense of like beginner freshness and calling, right? So of course there's going to be vulnerability and being like, here's what I'm creating, here's what I do. Even if you've already, like for me, I have so much evidence of it working. And it still feels very vulnerable every time I talk about what I do and what I'm up to. with people who, like, whether it be on the internet or with people in real life, whether they know me or not, it's still very vulnerable. And of course it is. Of course it is. Because we're creating something right now. We are taking a risk. We are putting ourselves out there, like we've talked about, with all of the unknowns, all of the uncertainties. Sometimes we're doing something that not everybody will understand. And the thing that's helped me the most, so there's a couple things that have helped me the most, is one, letting it be a practice. I remember when I first started my business, I would tell people what I was doing, and I felt so uncomfortable every single time that the feedback I got was like a bit like, it was like mixed, because people were really mirroring me and I was expressing a lot of doubt. And I used it as this practice to be like, oh, here's what I'm doing. And so now it's really like, I've noticed times where I want to explain it, and it really helps to just like not explain it unless people want to know. If people have questions, then I'll ask them, or then they'll ask me and I'll answer. But to just be like, just clearly like, I'm a business coach, I'm a money coach, or like, what would I say? What do I tell people? I don't even know. It depends on who it is, honestly. It depends on who it is. Like, sometimes I might be like, I do coaching, so like personal development, spirituality, I lead retreats, and I do business and money coaching. Like, that's probably what I would say. Like, I do this combination of things. And yeah, because I can just say it like this is what it is. This is what it is. You can say, you know, I teach expression. I help people with their, like, I work with people's nervous systems, like whatever it is. And if you do a lot of things, you can either say a lot of things, or you can just be like, I teach classes. Sometimes I just do that. I'm like, I teach online classes, period. And if people want to know more, they can know more. But you also don't need to like explain yourself to people. You don't need to be seen by people who don't have the capacity to see you or value things the same way you do, to value what you do. Like, you don't have to, that's like, again, something that I'm like burning out of my system, is like needing people to understand or see me or validate me. Like, we don't need to do that. And the truth is that, like, you all do know what you do. You do know what you do, but there's just this fear of talking about it and being misunderstood and being rejected and being judged. And fuck that, you know, like, if people want to judge you, then they can just like not be around, you know, or they can come around eventually. I had this man who, I heard that he said some awful things when he like saw my Instagram, and he like said some shitty things about me. And I was like, I was like, that dude needs to be my client. Like, whatever. He has so much to learn from me. Like, he called me like a snake oil salesman. Like, I'm like, do you even know what that means? Did you look at my account for any more than like 5 seconds? Because I'm like literally the opposite of that. And then when he met me in person, this man followed me around for 2 hours asking me advice. 2 hours. I was like walking my dog, and he was like, can I come with you? I'm like, bro, get your shit together. If people judge you, like, that's on them, and they'll either come around or they won't. And that's not your deal, right? Being on this path is going to really require you to be like, you know, I know who I am, and I know what I do, and I know what I'm of service to. And it's really like going to be a practice of owning yourself, owning your self-worth, owning those standards that you're setting. Like, for me, it doesn't really anymore, but it could feel edgy for me to be like, you know what, my standard in my finances, in my business, is that I start the year and already have enough money coming in for the whole year, that I wouldn't have to make another dollar. And, you know, that can feel really edgy, but it's like, for me, there's like logical, like I don't have to explain it, but there's like logical reasons for it too. I need to feel really nourished and really safe. And I spend a lot of money on myself in order to do that, for me to actually show up in my business the way I'm capable of. I need to hire support. I have a team who I'm committed to, team who are in contract, you know what I mean, for like months. We've made agreement. I do not need to be in a place where I'm worrying about how I'm going to pay them. No. I need money set aside in my accounts, in my investments, because I want to retire one day. Who knows if I'll actually, you know, we'll see. But like, I actually plan to like write books and just like keep making my business more and more passive. But like, I need, like, that's my standard. And I'm saying I need that. For me to do the work that I'm here to do, I need that. Of course, could I get by with less? Yes. But that's not what I'm here to do. I'm not here, like, that's not what I'm here to do. Could I shrink myself? Yes. But that's not what I'm here to do. And some people might listen to that and be like, you know, say something that I probably would have said not that long ago, and been like, oh my God, all she cares about is money. She's so greedy. People have said that stuff to me. Like, how could you say that when other people are struggling? And I'm like, do you think my struggle helps their struggle? No, no. Actually, me being super resourced makes it so that I can make 100 going on 200 free podcast episodes that people can go tune into, to host things like this that are absolutely free. That if people want support in those areas, it's there. Okay. So again, it's like, yeah, just really nurturing yourself. Okay. I have so much more to say, you all, but I'm going to stop talking for now, and I'll talk more in the Telegram group. Let's do a quick practice. Before we get into that, I'm going to let you all know there's a few things going on. So I'm in a place now where my business feels super clear, and I'm like, thank the Lord. Like, it feels really good. But of course, I had to work my way up to that. And I'm going to be going through my courses, my offerings, like in an order. So the next one up is Sacred Sales, and everyone who's in, I'll share it on my Instagram and an email too, but I'm going to do an early bird for it. I don't have all the exact dates and everything lined up. But yeah, you all, I'm not sure. I don't remember what I said the price was going to be off the top of my head. I think like $399 for the course, $399, but it'll go up to like 500 and something. So that's the next thing if you're wanting more support. Honestly, the thing that I'm pouring the most energy into, that I think is like the best, because it's not just like focusing in one area, is the Heart-Led Business Collective. So the Heart-Led Business Collective is access to every course and container, right? And my courses are like courses that I blend like the magical and practical. Like, they're very like, these are like pretty strong, energetic, like containers, like, you know, like what's it called? Like a little, it's a container. You like come in and like stuff happens. You know what I mean? It's like, you get it. You all get it. It's not just coming in, it's like, this is how you do the things. I also love to teach to the like practical education strategizing, but that comes later. It's really first about like you being exactly who you are, and then like the strategy and your next steps all come from that. So there's deep inner work that happens. There's deep like clearings and all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, the Heart-Led Business Collective is a container where it's a year long, and then you get access to every single course. You get access to all the replays already, so you can be going through things, but then all the live things that I do, it cycles through that. And then we have calls every Thursday, which are really awesome. I'm looking at Nadine because Nadine's in there. like our group is, we honestly have like amazing conversations that I want to cry thinking about, like just how like beautiful this group is, and like the love and the realness. It's not like a performative space. It's not like, oh, we need to like have it all together. And it's also not like competitive. Like people can bring in their like celebrations. There's just like a lot of love, and I'm really thankful for that. And then you also have one-on-one support. So like when you come in, you get a one-on-one call that's like to orient you, but also get support. And right now it's $350 a month for a year. If you have been in Wealthy, you get a really good discount. I think it's $210 a month. But all of that is going up by $50 a month, and there's pay in full options as well. Yeah, that's all going up May 19th. So if you're in a place where you're like, I'm wanting more support, I'm wanting to, yeah, like have this level of commitment. Like there's a commitment that happens when you're like, and you all know this, right? This commitment of like, I'm going to get some support. I'm going to like lean into a space where I know I'm going to be really nourished, and also like to be in community, to see others' experiences. If you're really feeling called to that, and now is a good time for that, this space is honestly really amazing and really nurturing. So yeah, so that goes up the 19th. I also have been doing one-on-one. So if you're someone who wants to get into a one-on-one space, I have one long-term space and one, not one, I have like intensives ongoing, and I do about like 1 to 2 a month. So that's what's happening there. Okay, so let's do, hi Tanya. We've been going for about an hour. I just talked a lot. So I think I was like, I think you maybe have the time a little off, but that's okay. We're gonna have the replay up. We're gonna go a little more, maybe about another like till probably like 30 after the hour, but you'll get the replay as well. And I'm glad you're here. Yeah. Okay. So, and if you all have any questions about any of that, you can just either email me, you can ask it in the Telegram group, or you can DM me on Instagram. Yeah. But on the Heart-Led Business Collective page, I do have like a video that explains everything. It talks about the different courses there. Again, if you've been in Wealthy, like the link for that is in the back end of Wealthy, and I'll also be sending out a direct email to Wealthy people. But you can also just send me a message if you can't find it. Okay. All right, so let's do a practice. We're going to do a practice, and then I'm going to see if there's any questions. And then, yeah, for the rest of this week, so from now until like a week from now, I'm going to be coming in and sharing things, more things that are coming through for you all in the Telegram group. Like I said, you can ask questions. It's up to 2 questions. You just put that in the question area. And again, it doesn't have to be a super clear question. It can also be like a ramble, and that works too. And this will end on Friday next week. And you'll have a little bit more space to like go in and tune into everything. So, okay. How are y'all feeling so far? Go to the chat box. Let me know how you're feeling. And Tanya just got here, so you're like, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. Glad to be here. Great. Really great. Yay. I get to see one of my teachers today who like changed my life. Who literally like changed my life. So I'm really excited about that. I'm gonna go after this to have lunch with a group. Yes, pretty great too. Okay, great. All right. Feeling lovely, electric, yay. Okay. So let's get cozy. We're just gonna tune in. And again, like a lot of, I talked about this in Wealthy yesterday. We were doing a practice, and I was like, why do we practice? Why do we practice? Let's like get clear on why we even do this. Kitty, I just realized I have that shirt. I actually got it at a clothing swap, but did you get yours as a clothing swap? I love that. I love that. I feel like half my closet was like someone else's at some time. More than that, probably, honestly. Probably like 80%. Okay, anyway. All right, so why do we practice? Having this intention and this understanding, I feel like makes it so much more powerful. Like that, I mean, it's true in business too. When we have this intentionality around why we're doing the things we do, we understand, oh, I'm actually doing this because I think I have to, because I think it's what's going to work, because it's what someone told me to do or someone told me not to do. But if we're actually doing it from this place of like, oh, I really value this and I love this and this is fun for me and this is really fulfilling and I feel excited about this and I feel lit up about this. And it's who I truly am and it's really expressing my gifts. It's so much more powerful, right? And that's like the intentionality. But how do we even get to that intentionality, that level of intentionality? It's a deep understanding of who we are, right? Not just who we want to be, but who we are now. And having this profound honesty. This is what creates a sustainable business, honestly, and a regenerative business is really operating from who you are right now. You don't have to try to like pretend to be and like be someone that you're not, honestly. Or like fake it till you make it. Or how do they put it in like, yeah, like you get to lean into who you are now and be the full spectrum of who you are. You have these parts of you that are so resourced and powerful and clear and like excited and all of those things. And you get to like lead with all of that. And you also get to tend to and nurture, and you don't have to repress and you don't have to hide the parts that are tender and like uncertain and scared, because it's real. And especially again, as people who are here in leadership positions, especially like at this point, people have just gotten to the point where they want to see your realness. They want to have intimacy. So you don't have to hide things, right? That's something I'm really working on right now because I've gone through so many Tinder things and it feels really scary every time I share one. Right? But every time I do, it's like I get a wave of like new people who are interested in my work or joining my containers or like, oh my God, I needed to hear this. Thank you. Oh my God, you know. All right. So that's why we practice. We practice to understand ourselves. We practice to form clarity, to know who we truly are, what would be nourishing, what we actually want to do. And then the things that you do and show up to in your business are way more potent. Your results get exponential because it's not just about having all the right systems and structures. Yes, it is about that too, but it's about the intentionality behind the things that you do. Okay. All right. So go ahead and get comfortable. You can stay seated, you can lay down. This will probably be about like 8 minutes. And if you want to experience some longer practices, you can tune into the business expansion playlist. I have some free ones there. I have some in the podcast. All of my courses have practices. So like Wealthy does, Identity, Sacred Selves will have some practices as well as like strategic stuff. Gale as well. They all have practices. So you can start by tuning into your senses. There's a couple ways you can do this. You can look around your space. You can feel the seat that you're on. You can notice your breath moving into your body. You're starting to notice where you are in space and time. When you're ready, you can close your eyes if that feels good to you. You can always keep them open. You can always change anything. But notice the breath moving in and out of your body. Notice how your body is feeling without needing to change anything. Your drive, resourcefulness, and letting spill out to your decent if any noise comes, or maybe it's just any natural adjustments on top and side. Your body to feel more in harmony. Set an intention that this practice serves your clarity, serves your resourcefulness, your understanding of yourself and your business, and therefore ripples out to support with the flow of money and support of your clients and your work in the world, your expression, your ability to sell well, to show up well, your capacity to hold it all, your capacity to be with the vision even as it's unfolding. There are areas that are there. And if it feels almost breaking out, let me bring it closer. And if it feels true and aligned to you, you can call in any support that you want to from any teachers, guides, Mother Earth, God, any deities, ancestors who are wise, benevolent. And feel that support. I'm just going to ask you a series of questions. And all you have to do is receive. Receive the guidance that comes from the wisest parts of you. Trust it. Even if it doesn't make sense yet, even if it feels scary, even if it calls you to let go of something that you're not ready to let go of or feel scared to let go of. So taking a deep breath and committing yourself that you will be in a space of truth, of honoring yourself, of honoring life, of trusting truth. Is there anything, anyone, any way of operating that is no longer in resonance with your highest good and the highest good of your business, that is draining, depleting your capacity? What are these things? And if you make space with them, what would it be like to make that space? And what can you see on the other side of that space creation. Just mark that answer. And now asking, is there anywhere that you actually have clarity, but you're just afraid to see it? Or anywhere that you have clarity, but you're not trusting it? And why are you not trusting it? Why are you afraid to see it? If any emotions come up, just breathe deeply. On the flip side, is there anywhere where you're trying to force clarity? But clarity hasn't arisen yet, and it's not time for it yet. Just mark those things. Is there any way and anywhere that you can nourish yourself and your business deeper? So reflecting on your relationship with yourself, things outside of your business that impact you, ways that you operate within your business. What would feel really good? What would feel fun, good, easeful, pleasurable? And is there anything in you that resists doing the thing and running things the way that is nurturing and fun and joyful and filled with love and trust and your devotion? Be with that question and see what arises. And the last question, is there anywhere that you can let in support? So this might be support that's already there, support that's like right up on you, but you're like, or support that you're called to initiate that you're resisting. This can be support from your own body, from money, from your business, from your life, from other people, from mentors. Taking a deep breath. And now feeling your presence on this journey, this devotional journey of entrepreneurship, of creation, of leadership. Feel your power to be with it all. Commit yourself to being nurtured, filled up, taken care of, supported, so that you continue to be in this role of giving, creating, taking the next step. Any last bits of guidance that want to come in, just allowing that. Body and nice stretch, if that feels good to you. Ooh. If you're ready, letting yourself slowly come back to the space, come back to the call. All right. We have about 10 more minutes. I would love for you all to popcorn around if you have any share from anything that came through for you in that practice, or if you have a question, you can bring it. Does anybody have anything they want to share or ask?
I'll share. I think that was really deep because it was really amazing. I felt like a huge opening, but I can't remember it all. But through the whole thing, I was like, wow, this is amazing. I'll never forget. And then I came out and I was like, whoa, what happened?
What I have found is that anytime, this is great. This is actually great news. I would say go through it again and write
Yeah.
some stuff down, because like I have found that anytime, I think you've maybe heard me say this, Nadine. I said it somewhere like a couple months ago. I had this huge breakthrough where I like recognized something and then like could not remember it the next day because my subconscious was just like,
Yeah.
it was like, no, girl, don't know, not that one. Like, don't look at that. And so it's really normal to have those moments of like, oh my gosh, I see. And then like immediately be like, no, no, you don't. No, you don't. You know.
I'm in good company here, so this is good. Thank you. Yeah. Everyone had the same experience.
Yeah, you're good. You're
awesome.
Great. No worries. I would say go through it again. Go through it again. And it might come up later. Like like when that was happening to me, I was like, what was it? I was like, no, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. And it like came up later.
Well, it's funny because I think it was related to my expression.
Mm-hmm.
But then what I do remember is I actually had this whole experience of seeing myself running like a week-long event. And it's weird. I wouldn't have thought I would have been comfortable there. And I actually felt like I could feel like just start writing stuff down now. Like, you know what you want to do. And I was like, really? This is the thing that I can rest into? Because I would have thought that was my edge. But yeah. So good. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else want to share?
Yeah, I had a very similar experience where it was like, I've been like holding a lot of space. I haven't been like really receiving. So I just like fully let myself receive without like worrying about needing to remember. Because I feel like on some level my subconscious will remember. But something that did come through was wanting to, like, I've been wanting to host in-person workshops, but something that holds me back is like needing to rent the space and like thinking about costs, like, oh, how many tickets would I need to sell in order to make this profitable? And that like really holds me back and like keeps me confined in thinking about money. And so I've just been doing like free events in public spaces, which is beautiful. But I really have been wanting to do this like like tea ceremony and combined with like a creative practice, just like a 2-hour experience where we have tea and then you dive into a creative practice afterwards. That I just need to rent a space for that. Like I really want to do that. I can't hold myself back about like finances. Like at this point, I really don't care if it's profitable or not. It's just like something that I want to do. So I'm gonna look into spaces that I can rent to do that.
You can totally also find a space that like I want to just like can I just be like can I say something?
Yeah.
You can care that it's profitable.
Okay.
You can care that it's profitable and you can hold a standard that it's going to be profitable.
Mm.
And you can find a space like I did this recently, right? I'm hosting an in-person event here next week. And I actually like I needed a private space. There was a couple of spaces I had in mind. One of them I was like, okay, I need a lot of people for that to be profitable. One of them not so much, but I was like, I don't really like the space that much. And I was like, okay, but I know that like with that other space, if I like, because I like care that it's profitable. You know what I mean? Like I really care about that actually. I want to be paid for my work. And it turns out I didn't even, I like sat on it because something in me was telling me to wait, and I ended up having a free space that's private, like a private space, because I just moved into this apartment building and they have like a rooftop, like glass, like mountain view clubhouse that also has like an open like big terrace, and it's free as part of like I moved in here and I was like, can we rent this space? And they were like, yeah, it's free. You just book it. You just fill out a form and book it.
Wow.
And so, and I could have like paid hundreds or even thousands of dollars for those other spaces, but because I was like, I'm gonna wait, but I also was holding the standard of like it's gonna be profitable, and life will meet you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. And like, I want it to be a beautiful experience. I don't want to like discredit it and be like, oh, okay, like, how cheap can I make this space? And like, how little money can I pour into this? Because that's me not valuing the space. I want it to be a valuable experience.
Totally. But you
So
can value both. You can
yeah.
value pouring money into something and value also being paid.
Thank you.
Yeah. Valuing your time, valuing your service. Yeah. And that you don't have to drain yourself or drain your finances for it to be like a beautiful place. Like I said, this place is actually better, way better than the other two places. So hold out for that. Find that. Be like, that's what we're going for.
Thank you.
That is going to be profitable. You're going to be paid for it, and it's going to be amazing in the perfect spot. Awesome. Okay, does anybody else want to share?
I'd love to share.
Yay.
I don't remember either what came up, but after the practice, the word that's popping in my mind is simple. Like I feel like I need to declutter all the ideas and the projects that I've been carrying for so long to meet what is present in a very simple and minimalist way. And like declutter and simplify. And the question that is in my mind right now is like, what would be the smallest step right now? What would be like a very baby step that would just bring like energy and move some energy? And I'm actually holding a challenge I started the community a few months ago, and we have like a May moves May. For the whole month of May, we're going to meet our desires and call in the desires. And the first week was on shadow work. And I feel like it's in that space. But I don't know, like just transitioning that space after the end of the month or something. But I don't know what it's going to look like. I just know it's simple and small and a baby step.
Yeah. And I think for you, like trusting that awareness of like, especially when you're like, okay, there's all these ideas and there's so many things that you could do, letting yourself be in this phase where you're going to like do the next step, and see how it all unfolds and really be present with it. You know, I think that's the biggest thing when people are having a pivot. It's like there isn't all this clarity yet, but it will compound over time. And like you're already taking amazing steps by like starting this community, doing the challenge with them, like showcasing your skills, being in your service, and it's gonna keep arriving. And I love that. Yeah, I'm a big fan of simplicity. That's like a huge part of my life, and it's created a lot of space like internally and externally for me. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that.
Like holding the big stuff while making very baby steps. It's like, yeah, there's like just the macro and the micro being completely in the micro step, in the micro movement, something like that.
Yeah. And it's always like baby steps. It's always like the little things, but it just like the results compound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else want to share? Tanya, do you want to share anything, or you feel good?
I guess I could share a little bit. I'm in a place of transition, and I've been on this fence. Am I going to move or not move? Am I going to move? Am I going to not move? Well, I'm moving. No, I'm not moving. I'm moving. Trying to sort through all the feelings of that. And, you know, I have this great business idea. I know it's a great business idea. I feel very authentic, and there's been sort of this, well, I don't want to start because because I don't know if I'm going to be here, if I'm going to be there, I'm going to be, and it's kind of convenient for me, right, to not know. Then I don't have to do it, because I think there's a fear of the success, a fear of the responsibility that goes along with it. But I have to say, while I'm on this call, I feel a sense of peace about moving in the direction that I had decided, that I was then kind of waffling on. And even just, I have a couple of pictures that are sitting here next to me, and I'm like, just put those in bubble wrap. Those are going with you. Like, you're going, decide you're going. And so that something small like that, where it's where I'm telling the universe, yes, I'm doing this, instead of being a bit frozen. So, and I'm very excited about, I'm feeling much more excited about going and stepping into my power on a bunch of things that I've just taken the back seat to. And I think that shift in place, you know, location and my physical space will help get me unstuck, will help me with that, shift that, and allow me to free myself to do that. And at the same time, feeling sad about the time that I've spent where I am. That's been a very nurturing time. There's been a lot of wounds that have been healed, a lot of mother wound stuff. And I think it's sort of like, well, it's time to fly the nest. I'm a little afraid, but I can do it. So thank you for this lovely space and all the shares today. So.
Thank you for sharing. There's definitely a lot of power in when it's time. Like sometimes the clarity isn't there, and sometimes it is, and it's just scary. And like making a decision, making the commitment can free up so much space, both energetically in, like you said, like once the move is done and you're like settled, how like everything's going to come together. And sometimes it is about taking that, like there's like the little steps, and then there's also big steps, and the big steps can create big results, but they can be scarier. They can bring up, like you said, all the grief, but you're really honoring it. And that's really courageous. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I feel that. And it's also moving where, you know, I've been in a long distance relationship, and it's where that person is. And I think some of it is I'm feeling like maybe it's not in alignment, but at the same time, this space that it's going to free up for him and for me I'm trying to say, well, it's going to create something else. And it may be the end of it, but I'm going to allow it that space. And there is that uncertainty. There is not clarity around that. Maybe there's some, it's like, it feels like it's coming into focus, but I don't really know, because I don't know what freeing up that space for me is going to do, or what that's going to do on his end with freeing up the space for him. So, and I know that I've undone a lot of codependency stuff. I don't feel like I'm going there for him. I feel like I'm going there for me.
Yeah.
I have a great friend there, a girlfriend who's there. And she's a beekeeper, and my dad was a beekeeper, and I'm going to help her with the bees. And like, I'm going for me, which is very different than, if I had gone a year ago, which I decided not to go because I didn't feel like things were in the right place. I'm really going for me. But I'm scared.
Yeah, totally.
And that's me being authentic and honest. Like, I'm nervous, but I'm like, it's all going to be okay, because everything's working out for me and the universe has my back, and I'm just going to believe that it's going to be great, and it's going to be great. I don't know exactly all the details, but it's this trusting in what I can't see, but it's scary. I'm not going to lie. Very scary.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing. Yeah, you're gonna be awesome. Yeah. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
All right, you all. Well, we are going to wrap up here. I could go for another 3 hours. Well, I technically can't because I have somewhere to be, but like emotionally, energetically, I could. Like, um, so we're going to have more throughout the rest of this week in Telegram. I'll keep sharing there. You keep sharing. Ask any questions or anything that comes up. And yeah, like I shared, this replay will be up a little later today for those of you who came in late. And the link for that will be emailed out and also in the Telegram. And yeah, and if you're in a space where you're like, I would love some support, I would love to be in a space of receiving, of both education, being held in practice, being in community. The community feels like this, but it's like long term. It's a year. Heart-Led Business Collective is a year-long container, so you get to know the people in there. So there's a lot of like trust and just understanding each other, and also like I said when Nadine was in here, when she went to share, I was like, I already know everything about you. Like, I really get to know you and your business, so you have a lot of support in that way. Yeah, the price is going up by $50 a month, $600 total May 19th. It's actually going to go up again by that same amount at probably toward the end of the year. So now is a really good time to get in if you're feeling called to that kind of space and you resonate with my work. I know it can feel scary. Like, if you are feeling called toward it, I know it can bring up fear with like investing, with money, with, receiving, especially if you've had some spaces that didn't really feel conducive to that. So I just want to acknowledge that. And yeah, just trust that the clarity, all of that. If you have any questions, reach out to me. I'm here. And yeah, I love you all a lot. And I will talk to you in Telegram. And thank you for being here. You all are amazing. It's such a joy and pleasure to get to host things like this. I'll see you in the Telegram group, and I hope you have a great day.
Hey, Melissa, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're so welcome.
Thank you, ladies.
Bye.